When you've run it so many times.
So the way that we're going to do it, Astro said he's going to be late. Candy said he was going to join. Okay, I've started, so I think Coach Blackout, you can join. Musaki, you can join. Boyer is AFK. Yap Queen, you can stay on. Yo, dude, how you doing? Hello?
Me?
Yeah. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Cool.
You know how in my profile I have the row of cutting?
Yo, Blackout Method Fitness.
Yo.
Salutes. Hey, but I didn't. Are you American? We don't want to talk about the U.S.
Oh god, that's not
U.S.
even,
politics. The developing U.S. politics. All right. Let's see what Russia thinks about it. What did you say, mate?
I said let's ban him.
Let's ban him. Jesus Christ.
All of the American users ban him. We're the new.
It's been a roll. We've got 1 second. 1 moment.
Yes, Chris is gone now. I'm just kidding. He's probably getting his food. Cool. So, guys, welcome everyone to our debate. If you do want to be part of the debate, you're entitled to. If you want to come up to the stage, come up to the panel. We're going to be going through a few talking points, popular talking points. So, for example, one of them is obesity a choice. Another would be should filming be banned at the gym? Morning, hello, Yagoda. There are also some other ones and also some other debates as well that we'll be going through. If you're for or against, you can raise your hand. If you want to give your insights, there should be more guests joining, hopefully. Feel free to invite anyone in the chat that was interested but didn't see the alerts. Now that Chris is here, we can start off with the first debate. And also welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Oh yeah, and I need to glaze Chris. Hey guys, I have here with me Chris. Chris is a certified personal trainer with over a decade years worth of experience. You know him. Was it Strike First, Strike Force, Strike what? We've also got here with us Ice Baby with his plushie in the background. Hey, I'm also a fan of plushies, but I only have one, and it's the official Discord one. Let's go. Shout out to Ice. Thanks for joining. I think I have started the stream. So it is also on Twitch as well. Shout out to twitch.tv/AOKing. Dante. Hey, maybe we can get Dante in the debate as well. Dante, you're welcome to partake as well. We've also got Miss Yap Queen. I need to learn your real name, mate. What is your real name? You've got Miss Yap Queen. We've also got Blacked Out. Hey, am I pronouncing it? Blacked Out Method Fitness. Dante, yo, dude, how you doing? Can you talk? If not, it's all right. No? No, that's all right. That's all right. And we've got Boyer. He's got an emergency. So, Chris, it might be me versus you for the first couple of talking points.
Yeah, that's cool.
So get ready to get cooked, little bro. Let me get ChatGPT up quickly just to help me out. And Reddit as well.
Yeah. Get them live.
Nah, this is all my research. So it's my Reddit.
Sources, yeah, your sources.
Yeah, it's all my sources. So it's my Reddit. So technically, I can reference it, right? Cool. And welcome everyone. Anyone else who do want to partake with the debate, all jokes aside, feel free to use the chat. So the first debate that we're going to go into, we're just going to go straight into the deep end. Is obesity a choice? Chris, I want you to go first. Let us know if you're for or against, and give us your reasons. And before you start, let me confirm that the Twitch as audio, because it didn't last week.
I'll be good.
Say something.
Hello, AO, do you hear us? Is Twitch running audio? Are we good to go?
Can you guys actually help, because it might crash my computer?
Oh man. Anyone check Twitch is working? Effective Fitness. Is obesity a choice of debate? Guys, chat, you can hear me. If you can hear me, give us a thumbs up. If not, give us a thumbs down. We could fix it. Last time we went the whole entire podcast without audio, which is a shame. But
And it was a
sometimes
Christmas
these things
podcast
happen.
as
These things
well.
happen. Yeah, it was. It was a lot of effort and a lot of fun.
Okay, it's working. Stop yapping.
There we go.
Cool. The floor is yours, mate. Go ahead.
Okay, which side? Do I get a choice? Pro or against? For or against?
Any side you want to be at, mate. Just
Okay. I'll take the devil's advocate side. I'll say obesity is not a choice. I will say some people in a situation where they do not have the choice, obesity is the only thing, the option they have available. I would say a lack of education. I think there's also a fear mongering. If anything, there's too much information. I think people are told to worry about microplastics, are told to worry about too much protein, too little protein, told to worry about fats, trying to worry about carbohydrates. There's people don't know where to go. They're lost and they just eat whatever they can. And if that means it being obese, that's how they end up. That's my opening statement for it. Obesity is not a choice.
okay, cool. Is there anybody here who is against that point? Talking point? Dante, but you can't speak at the moment. So, in your defense, I would take the stand. Oh, you can speak. Go ahead, Dante. The floor is yours.
Just a moment that I couldn't.
No worries.
All right, so kind of playing devil's advocate here because I do agree to a quite large extent with that, but I think regardless of the circumstances that we're born into or that we're set into, we do have an array of possibilities in front of us in the age of information to be able to sort through the bullshit, to be able to do our research, to be able to do our homework. We have the ability to communicate with people that we never would have been able to like a decade or two ago. Well-informed people that we wouldn't have had access to without funds to be able to pay them. And I think given that amount of freedom, technology, availability, and what have you, that it more so is a choice. Barring outlandish circumstances, of course, because there's always going to be an umbrella term that's not going to apply. I do think that it is a choice.
Nice, Abe. You're muted. Do you want someone to respond to that, or should I respond?
Thank you very much for the talking points, Dante. I do agree with what you're saying, that there's an abundance of resources. There's even ChatGPT. Guys, AI exists. We're literally living in I Am Robot or iRobot or whatever that movie's called. So Dante has raised some really good points. Chris, do you have any counter arguments since you do believe obesity is not a choice?
Absolutely. So I think access to information, like we said, I think it actually be a problem. I think people are told too much information. I think it's hard to tell what's right and what's wrong. I think technology is great, but I also think it can be quite immobilizing. I think people have a lot of their critical thinking, practical thinking taken away from them. I think people can now order Uber Eats. You can order Just Eat anything, food directly to your door. People don't know how to cook anymore. People will just, you can GPT all the recipes you want in the world, but unless you're actually going to make it yourself and take the action for it, you're not going to eat. So people will just order things. And then it comes down to availability of healthy food. Like I know if I want to order something healthy right where I am, I'm struggling. I'm living in a developed country. Like I find it hard to find healthy food to order for me. So I think that's another issue. People don't know how to cook. They don't have the skills anymore. Technology is taking away these skills we have. They have to resort to fast food, and fast food are not good options around here. I think, obesity is not a choice. Only option you have. Yeah, we muted. You're double muted.
I did that on purpose. That is just my 100,000 IQ bait. So I was about to say 100 IQ baits, right? But on a serious note, I personally believe that obesity is not a choice, especially in the West, if you're an adult. So the reason why I'm saying that is that if you're a teenager and your parents are cooking your meals and you're limited to the resources and the lifestyle that your parents are providing for you, I can understand how that cannot be a choice. For example, you might have, maybe coming from a single parent's household, someone who hasn't got time to be there to cook every single meal. So they're doing fast food. So you're living off something specifically that's only provided because that's what they can afford at that time. Maybe they're working a lot, so they're not actually teaching you how to be healthy and nutritious. But I do believe that we need to separate the difference between somebody who is obese and somebody who is fat. Now, fat and obese are two separate things. And I think in this day and age, we kind of merge them both to one. Obesity is at the very extreme. That's beyond fat, right? That's basically a health risk. And I do believe with everything in this world, we all need to start taking accountabilities for our actions. So, for example, if you're a grown adult and you know that you're struggling to go up the stairs, and you know that everybody knows that eating freaking pizza every single day of the week, nonstop with a high surplus, is not healthy for you. If you're not getting the cardio that you need, if you're not even reaching out, I can understand someone where in your life, somebody who has neglected you, maybe due to like a bad parent or whatever, had gotten you to that position. But when you're an adult and you continue down that path, then I believe it's a choice. So that's my stance. Does anybody have any counter arguments? If not, GG, I win. Game over. Surrender.
I would kind of like to counter argue that. I hate arguing. I love debates. I hate arguing. So I'm going to kind of put my 2 cents out there with that. I agree in the sense that you are severely limited with how you're brought up for the most part. Your parents' income plays a lot into the nutrition that you're fed. Your parents' education plays a lot into how you're raised. And I mean, if you don't have other people surrounding you that'll kind of help point out the nonsense or the bullshit, you're going to put yourself in a pretty nasty predicament. Especially in the West, especially in America, it is really, really bad here. Nutritional education, we're one of the most obese nations on the planet, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, it has consequences to it. But devil's advocate, and I don't think this is a fair one to play. I grew up super poor with not the healthiest parents, and I did not have a lot of friends. I was the loner. I didn't really have anything but me and my own for many, many years. And I was able to make informed decisions based on trial and fire. And I think that, how do I phrase that? I think that that's where it comes into being a choice. You can have everything stacked against you to an extent, and it can make things incredibly difficult, like my tumor and my financial status and all the bad things that have happened have made this for me. I could have quit the fitness journey and I would have had every right to turn out super obese and say, fuck this and just give up. But I had options. And I mean, even if you're limited in your resources and your income, you have the availability to do your homework, and you can do trial by fire and see what works and see what doesn't, and parse through the incredible amounts of information and misinformation to see what would be applicable for your lifestyle, your body, your financial situation, your environment, or what have you, to try and make the most out of that for yourself, if that makes sense.
Cool. Over to you, Chris.
Yeah, I think you made a good point, Dante. I completely agree, and I really respect you for going through all that and making it through. I will say, not to be rude, but you're about the same age as me. You're a bit older on. We didn't grow up with social media straight away. We didn't grow up with TikTok rotting our minds away. I will say, having this mentality, this mindset, this strength of character and mental strength you have, I don't think that's inherent in everyone. I think maybe a few people have it naturally. I think other people have to curate that and build it up. And I think in this example, you're a great example, but you are the exception to the rule. I think most people in your situation would have succumbed and carried on. They've not had active choice. I don't think everyone has that ability innately in them without the culture around them to pull themselves out of it. So, and I think it'd be harder as well if you're surrounded by, convenience all the time. If you had your phone just to go to TikTok all day, if you just didn't have to walk anywhere. I know a lot of cities in America are very walkable. You have to get public transport or cars everywhere. They don't have necessarily sports teams around them. I think the default is to be obese. I think you have to actively choose to be fit instead. So I would say fitness may be a choice, but I don't think obesity is a choice. I'll flip it around for you very cleverly there.
I'm just kind of wondering how many people who are saying obesity is a choice have actually been obese, have gone through obesity, understands what it is to be obese. I think also we're talking about access to information, and it's easier. Yeah, if you have the privilege to be able to afford access to the internet, how to access these resources, the education. Like, we're talking about the US because I think most people are from the US. Like, if you're below the poverty line in the US, children are more likely to be 1.4 to 1.5 times more likely to be obese. If you go into any supermarket, it is cheaper to buy highly processed foods than it is to buy healthy food. I can go into like a local Iceland, for example, and for those who don't know, Iceland's not the country in this sense. It's just a supermarket here that just sells frozen high processed food. I could probably get at least 2 weeks worth of food for like 20 quid. But if I was to step into somewhere even like Lidl or Aldi that is aimed at people who are not so socioeconomic economic like advantaged, then I'm spending at least like 50 to 75 pounds if I'm
Definitely,
choosing to
definitely.
eat healthily. And then we live in a society where places like McDonald's, KFC, etc., or Wendy's, wherever you are spending millions of pounds a year advertising all of these products, are investing millions of pounds into developing these products to be as addictive as possible. They know exactly what they're doing, and yet, or you go into supermarkets and it's buy one, get one free, and all of these deals to make these foods that are unhealthy more accessible to you. And then there are people who live in food deserts and don't have any choice in terms of what foods they have access to. Or if you're living on, say, you're relying on a food bank, beggars can't be choosers, you get given what you're given. Or if you're relying on, in the US, and you're relying on SNAP, for example, then you're going to spend your food on cheaper items which are more likely to. So I don't think any of this doesn't necessarily set people up for success. And they may not necessarily have access to the internet. Having access to the internet is a luxury. Like, a lot of people don't have access to the internet. They don't have access to this education. They don't know how to cook basic meals. So when they can just go to McDonald's or order these things, like, how many fast food restaurants are out there that specialize in healthy options? And or people know how to act or how to buy what is a healthy option. What is a standard portion of food? Like, even something like cereal, people overload their bowls of cereal, and if you tell them a serving size is 40 grams, they're not going to eat that because they've grown up over consuming all of these things, and all these things have been normalized. And I'm saying this as someone I've been over 300 pounds. I've been obese. And I lost all that weight, and that took me about what, 32 years to reach that point, to be able to get that level of education and understanding to actually then address it and do something about it. So I think it's easy for people to sit there and say, oh yeah, obesity is a choice. Well, have you been obese yourself? Because if you're not obese, then I don't think you really have a leg to stand on to say that it's a choice.
I think that's a really good point, really powerful. Just to quickly add context for this, guys. We're talking about, is obesity a choice? So obesity is when you means be heavily overweight. So not just a little bit overweight. BMI, I think, is over 30 for counts as obese. So we're not talking about someone who's just carrying the extra weight, who's just a bit heavy. We're talking people who are seriously heavy and may have negative effects on their health. Well, eventually it will have negative effects on their health. They're carrying too much fat. So if anyone, just a definition for obesity out there. But thank you, Ms. Jacqueline. That's actually really insightful to have. It's probably quite it's quite patronizing for fitness coaches to talk to people about obesity and trying to sound like judging people. So it's really good perspective from that. Thank you. Sorry, I jumped in there on your.
No,
step
that
there.
was perfect.
Can I ask? Can I
Go
ask?
ahead.
Can I ask Ms. Yap to give some like feedback on what led to the change and how they ended up losing all that weight?
Because I had an eating disorder. I live at Ike, so So I'm gay, and so that's relevant because within the LGBT community, your entire self-worth is based on your aesthetic. And if you are obese within the LGBT community, you aren't going anywhere. You're basically invisible. And I think if you want to kind of succeed or be in that community or have romantic relationships and all of those things, or even in wider society, even day to day, that if you are slim or conventionally attractive, you are far more likely to succeed in life. And I think that even when people actually make an effort to lose weight, either through using Mounjaro or Ozempic, or all of these other GLP-1s, then the people who are, say, like online or Instagram and like fitness influencers, then openly demonize those people. So it's like they can't win. So they're using something that works for them. I'm not recommending GLP-1 to everyone. I personally didn't go down that route to lose like all my weight, but I think it's this thing of like when someone tries to lose the weight, they get demonized. So it's like they're in a situation where they yo-yo diet and then they're told they're wrong for yo-yo dieting. They go to a gym, and it's not, I wouldn't say a gym is a friendly environment for people who are obese. I wouldn't say society in general is a friendly environment for people who are obese. So when they go into use the achievements and then they get like demonized, it's kind of like, okay, what do we expect these people to like do? You're demonizing them for being obese, and then you're demonizing them for doing something about it.
Perfect. That's some really good points. Fitzdad MD, did you have any follow-ups, or did you just want to?
Yeah, I have a few minutes to share a bit now. I sort of view this question as like kind of a question that isn't really the right question to ask, right? And so I know that, you know, if this, for purposes of a debate, it's the question, but when I think about this question, I can't really answer it because it's not really a valid question in my opinion, or it's not a useful question necessarily from a practical standpoint. From a discussion standpoint, it makes sense, but like it's just such a complicated issue, right? And there are so many factors that go into it, and each person's experience with obesity is going to be totally different. They could have almost nothing in common in terms of what has led them to that point in their life. And there are people who are, you know, obesity is much more common in those who are underprivileged, and there are people who literally have no access to healthy food. And I would say that the people who are in those situations are probably not the majority, but then you have to factor in there's mental health, there's, you know, trauma, there's so many different aspects and layers. And so it's more than just waking up and making a choice to decide I'm going to continue to be obese today, right? It's so much more than that. But I do think that for a majority of people, if they were to have the support to continue to make a series of choices in a positive direction, they would ultimately be able to, you know, overcome obesity. But that's different for each person, right? So some people, you know, they're going to say, I was faced with these obstacles, I had all these things stacked against me, I had the resistance and fortitude and resilience and self-determination to figure it out and make it happen. And and some people can do that, and that's awesome. Some people aren't necessarily built or structured that way, making it a lot harder, but it doesn't mean they can't do it. They have a harder time making that choice and actually getting on board and doing that. Um, and so it's difficult because there are definitely those situations where the odds are so far stacked against somebody. You know, to reasonably expect them to overcome that, especially on their own, it's kind of hard to say, yeah, you should have been able to make a better choice, right? Like, but when it all comes down to it, I think a majority of people, if equipped and supported appropriately and given the education and the time, they could make a series of choices to then improve their health. But it was mentioned how society today, it's like it's set up in a way, and we're conditioned. I think conditioned is probably a good word to use. Like, we're conditioned to think about things as not necessarily a choice because it's just so normal, right? We're surrounded by fast food restaurants, and so why drive an extra 10 minutes to and then spend a whole bunch of extra time to find and make healthy food when we could grab something quick and then go play video games with our friends? That's normal, right? That's We're conditioned to believe that that is what is normal. And so to actually make a choice and go against the grains, to go against society, it's so much harder because it's not really an active choice for a lot of people anymore. It's just normal, right? And so I think rather than feeling like the choice isn't really there, thinking of it more as we're conditioned to do something opposite of what we should be doing, so then it's much harder to think about and actively make that choice, but the choice is still there. You're making the choice to go stop it for fast food and then go sit and play video games, right? So there, for a lot of people, I do feel like there is that choice there, but then again, there's so many layers to it that there are people who are in this situation and they feel helpless. They don't see a way out. They don't know how to move forward, and that just cycles and spirals further into whatever problems and challenges they're having, then feeding into this, whatever it be, mental health problems, trauma, and all the other aspects of life that make it difficult. Maybe they are poor and they're suffering because of that, and then they're making poor choices with their money, and then they have less money available, so then they can't spend a little extra on healthier foods. And there are ways to get healthier foods, less processed foods, for cheaper, but it is going to take a lot more time, a lot more effort, a lot more preparation and planning. And for somebody who is struggling with their health and with their mental health, that is even like it's a bigger reach to try to get there without support, right? So it's more than just simply making a choice. I think there are so many layers to it that makes it hard to tell somebody, you're fat because you made a choice to be fat, right? But I think with the right support and education, making a series of choices will help somebody get to a better place.
Perfect. Those are some really good points. So just before Dante goes, I do know that Dante does have a counter. Dante, feel free to go ahead, and then I'll do a summary of everything discussed so far.
Thank you. I want to say first off that Fit Dad MD, Handsome Doctor Dude, and Chris both make amazing points. I'm not for or against anything vehemently. All of them are amazingly well-spoken points. My last little piece of debate here that I think I wanted to toss forward is two different analogies. One being the obesity being a choice because we are all human. We all have different circumstances that surround us, different lifestyles, environments, upbringings, and what have you. But at the end of the day, we all have a human body. And if we do put in the work to do the homework, to do the right things, to not sit on the couch and, binge our Netflix series all night, or to play video games. Instead, if we go do that 30 minutes of cardio or an hour of lifting, what have you, the 1/24th of our day, as I like to call it. It makes it sound like it's not a lot, but we don't all have access to that time. I know that. We're human. We have the same kind of body structure. And if we push ourselves to find what will work for us, we can find it. It's not impossible to lose weight. Even if you have someone who's 750, 800 pounds, like on the My 600 Pound Life, the people that Dr. Now treats, excuse me, these people, before they're given the tools that they have access to with Dr. Now, they're in the situations that we're talking about. They're in a bad environment, surrounded by enablers. They have a poor lifestyle, poor upbringing, poor education or nutrition. And you can see what that leads to with this. And that could be the same for anybody to any degree of being unfit or overweight or obese. the lifestyle plays a huge factor in these things. And even if, like we see in that show, you're given the tools in front of you to do these things, you can choose not to take them. You can have access to all of these resources and all of the right material and still choose to make excuses for yourself or to say that it was too hard or to point fingers at somebody else. And like Chris was saying, I think I understand that I'm a bit of an outlier with things, but there is a part of me that feels like I'm not, because I mean, my testosterone was 42 this year, which is insanely low. Like, that's my motivation, my drive, my everything for my body, and I felt the repercussions of not having that. And stacked on top of that, being homeless and having the tumor and not having access to food and losing the job and losing the home and all that stuff, I was still able to make a choice to go and do something for my body. And at the end of the day, it is saying, I quit, I give up, there's nothing I can do. It's saying that makes it impossible. Every other outlet for that, you can find something that'll work for you, even if it's going to be slow progress, even if it's yo-yo dieting, or you're going to bounce up and down a little bit, or you go through 20 fads that don't work for you. There is something that's going to work for your body. And it's just a matter of saying, I'm not going to give up. This isn't going to be the end for me. I can find a way to do this. That mentality is extraordinarily important, in my opinion, and it bleeds into everything else in life. Whether that's like your job commitment, your work ethic, how you treat your friends, or more importantly, how you treat yourself, how you view yourself and your potential to be happy. And I think we just kind of beat that out of ourselves and tell us that it's impossible. You know, I'm never going to have Dante's body because he's like a fucking Greek statue. I've heard that a billion times, but I was not always like this, and I'm the least likely person to have this body, but I do, because I didn't give up, and because I didn't think that it wasn't possible. I knew that I had a choice, and it was a fucking hard choice, excuse my language, but it was a choice. And even if I was the opposite end of the spectrum, because I was super, super lightweight, underweight, if I was majorly obese with the same circumstances, at the end of the day, unless someone's like tying you down and feeding you, it's a choice. It's your choice to say, I give up or I don't give up. I can do this or I can't do this. And yeah, I guess that's where I stand on it. But let me say one last thing. I respect the hell out of everybody, no matter BMI, no matter body weight, no matter where you are in your fitness journey. We're all human and we all deserve to lift each other up. There is nothing wrong inherently with being obese. It is a societal thing that we've just kind of pushed onto each other because I think people see the unhealthy side of it and they just deem it as something that is inherently gross or bad. But it's another facet of being human, and there is so many different aspects to it. So in my eyes, personally, you're not a bad person for being obese. You're not in a bad way because you are not where you want to be right now. As long as you can keep forward and keep pushing, I think that you're going to get to where you want to be. End of me. Thank you guys for listening. I got to head out of here in a minute. I really appreciated the talk.
Thank you very much, Dante. Really do appreciate you. And I love the way that you gave yourself some compliments while quoting other people. I do the same thing, mate. Get well soon. Hope everything works out. We've also got a Dante dedicated event coming up this month, hopefully. But yeah, thank you for that, Dante. Before I summarize, Blackout Method Fitness did want to have some input. Anyone else? Because I did notice you've joined Astro Jime. We all know what time it is. I forgot the rhyme, but we can always rely on Jime. I did that intentionally. Ice Baby, Boya, Candy, Musaki, feel free to chip in if you do have anything to say. And anyone in the audience, you can ping text responses if you prefer, or you can come up to the audience if you want to. Over to you, Blackout Method Fitness. Sorry, mate, what's your name? It's always awkward saying people's Discord's name. I feel like freaking gamer tag days. You know what I'm saying?
You can just call me Rocco.
Rocco. Go ahead, mate.
Yes. Hey, how you doing? So, the first part I want to get on is also add on to what you were saying about childhood. So, similar to him, I came up in an environment where I'm from New York. I came in from a very low-income neighborhood, somewhere that was in a financially unstable household, even homeless for a time. So I've seen a lot of the disparity within health nutrition and the way it's set out to people. But I do believe that when it comes to general fitness, once you're out of your childhood home, once you're into your teens, actually, I do believe you have the idea to grow as a person, and you are given opportunities to go back into shape. So, for example, before I joined the military, I was about 280 pounds at the age of 16. From that time to the time I joined the military, I managed to cut down to like 190, and it was just like smart decisions based off of ideas, um, learning to walk. So I'm not saying that so people can be obese due to situation. At the end of the day, I believe that obesity also comes from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of small decisions that you make on the daily, whether it's what you want to eat, what you want to do, what type of activities you want to do. And we're in a society that normalizes obesity and normalizes food when in reality can and have been given the opportunity to learn, to be able to grow. Even if it's not from online, you still got books. You got certain low-income neighborhoods have services that can teach you how to cook, and they can give you the possibilities to learn. So that's really what I was trying to say. Is like we all have points. Well, we all have good and bad how we grew up, and we all have different situations that we're in. But when it comes to general fitness, it's all about the hundreds of decisions that we make on the daily, and just trying to make the right decision each day.
Perfect. That is a really good point. Jaime, did you have anything to add to? I don't want to
Yeah,
do
I
a full
actually
summary,
did.
but go ahead.
Yeah, I actually did. So with obesity, um, like currently my BMI is like 30, so technically I would be obese if we're gonna be really technical. But well, I'm gonna talk more upon like high body fat percentages and stuff like that, right? So with that being said, for my like I was once really heavy myself. I was like 285 pounds with like no lifting. Um tenure like a few years ago. And then recently I competed twice last year in natural bodybuilding shows and stuff like that. But I've kind of realized through that, as well as like my background in addictions counseling as well, how basically obesity is definitely determined behaviorally a lot, right? I'll give you an example, right? Um, for me, like every morning, I like to start off my workout. Like before my workout, I crush a muffin and a black iced coffee, right? So I've conditioned myself to a point where every morning before I work out, I want a muffin and an iced coffee, right? So there's behavioral things like that that get learned over time that become part of our daily routine with eating habits and stuff like that, right? And there's a lot of intricacies with that that I address in my own like nutritional kind of habits. One thing I try to do is I hydrate more. I try to hydrate as much as I can because hunger signaling can definitely be mistaken for thirst signaling and vice versa or whatever, right? There's also like other things where high volume food, I know that like whole foods are typically higher volume foods with less calories. So that's going to allow me to, you know, stick to a lower caloric intake on a day-to-day basis, right? But the thing is, you have a choice to learn these kind of things. You have a choice to try to go out there and learn things about nutrition and learn things about the gym and learn things like that you can apply to your daily life. And for me too, I think anyone who knows a lot about fitness would agree with me that when you have that knowledge, especially when it comes to nutrition, on things that you should and maybe shouldn't be eating and what your calories should be and things like that, you're tracking things like that, it gives you a lot less freedom to say, oh, I don't know what's going on, right? Like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. When you have those things checked off and you know kind of what you're eating for on a day-to-day basis, and you know how you should be eating and you're not, you can't deny it, right? Because you have that knowledge that you've obtained by trying to find out information to better your health, right? And so I wouldn't say obesity is a choice, but I would say it's definitely learned behaviors It's definitely behavioral influence. And I would say it's emotional too, because I know for me, when I'm going through something emotionally in my life that might be hard or something that is really troubling me, whatever it might be, it makes it a lot harder to stick to my dietary adherence, right? It makes me a lot it makes it a lot harder for me to eat the way that I set out for myself, because left to my own devices, I'll just eat in a surplus. I'll just eat so much fucking food. Sorry, I don't mean sorry. But yeah, like for me, like I think there's it's a choice if you're choosing not to do anything about it. But if you're actively making a choice to try to learn and try to employ better health principles in your life, I think that you're on your way, right? So I'll leave it at that.
Over to you, Aya.
Thank you. I made sure to take notes for this, so I'm not texting on my phone. I'm taking notes. My cousin is spamming me. Do you want to give your input before I do the summary? Does anybody else want to give an input on is obesity a choice? Maybe from a medical perspective, fitness perspective.
Yeah.
Astro, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I can just I'm sort of like sort of basically what everybody else said. But I think obesity is a choice. There's also some sort of like gray area too, because like there's a lot of like variables that interplay with it. Like one, you can be on the side where in this current generation when we have like being obese as sort of this form of like a new kind of beauty, and it's you look really nice, you look really good, or you look great being fat, or blah blah, and people think it's okay. Where in reality, from a medical perspective, when you're obese, you have a lot of health risks. Your cardiovascular disease probabilities go up. Your risk of heart attack goes up. Diabetes, all this sort of high blood pressure, everything of this nature. And when you're in a realm or surrounded by people where, despite the fact that you're obese, and they say that you're okay, if you choose to not realize the reality of you not being okay and make the choice to change, then you stick in that sort of hole. So in some realm, that's also a choice, because you're choosing to stay in this sort of area where people think that you look okay, when in reality that you're not. You're not choosing to get out of that bubble. From their standpoint, you have like, maybe health situations that are, it's hard to get out of obesity, like, menopause, or for men, like menopause or whatever it is, or you have some sort of condition where your metabolism is very, very slow and you have to work double hard. And if you don't have enough discipline, you don't progress or try to keep that weight at a very, healthy weight as possible. There's those type of things where, you don't really have so much control over it, but I mean, you can still get out of it, but it takes a lot of discipline to get out of that goal or get to that goal that you're trying to achieve. Obviously, there's also mental reasons too. Like for me, as a person who has anxiety, I have high anxiety. It's a lot better now. I've had panic disorder in the past. It sucks. High stress. Some people find ways to comfort themselves, whether it's food, it makes them feel better. Other choices that are not healthy. But when you get to the point when you're stress eating, per se, and you're not doing anything to combat it, like working out or something like this, then you're going to start gaining weight. So now you're choosing to, sacrifice one thing to comfort the other, which is your mental state versus your physical health, when you should be doing both. I feel like in general, like I think anybody in any case, in any situation, despite the fact medical conditions that might hinder, I think a lot of people, like you are the person, like you yourself, your consciousness, you the person as a soul, spirit, whatever, you have the choice to become better. You have the choice to make change. And if you don't make change, despite the fact advice is given to you, then you're going to continue to be in the same position that you're at. And so I see, and I sort of had that sort of mentality, because like at the same time, I think that I'm considering medical situations where maybe it's super super hard to get out of obesity. Like it's very very hard because you have some sort of medical condition. But at the same time, there's a lot of situations where if you, the person himself, don't try to make change, like you are your worst enemy at some point, then you're still going to continue to be in that same spot. And so that's why, I'm sort of in the gray area of like it's a choice, but also sometimes you don't have control over it. Because in the part that you don't have control over it, it's like if you don't push yourself to the limits, or you don't have good insurance or something to help you lose the weight, then you're kind of stuck. But on the other hand, like if you're healthy enough and you can do it, but you choose not to, then you're just making a choice and an excuse to not get yourself out of it. And so I'll just leave it at that, since I came in pretty late, but that's sort of where my input is.
No worries. Those are some good points. I like how you talked about the comfort food side of things. Just to quickly chip in before you, Ice. Although I was playing devil's advocate, I'm not obviously revealing my real stance. I think another thing that we need to ask ourselves is addiction a choice? It's one of those things where I agree it's a gray area. And Miss Yap Queen rightfully touched on a lot of things that I do think a lot of us might neglect because we haven't experienced it. Because when they said it, I know some people were saying stuff in the chats. I saw you guys. Please be respectful. But the main point that I do think that he was trying to mention was, if you've not experienced a level of addiction, and just to, maybe break policy 8 for a bit, there are medical drugs like opioids that people can be given by a medical professional for real reasons. And over time, if someone is on it for a prolonged period of time, they can end up being addicted. I'm not too sure if anybody saw, there was this Disney star, kid star, that went viral because he basically turned to a meth head. Policy 8, beg my pardon. Don't do any of that, right? This is for educational purposes. So we also need to start asking ourselves some of these questions. Is addiction a choice? And then some of you might, why is that related? Why is AO asking if addiction is a choice? A lot of these foods that we are eating without knowing, they have all these weird freaking chemicals and all these things because these companies and corporations want to keep people hooked. They want people to keep buying. Like one of the quotes of Pringles is, pop it till you can't stop, or something weird like that. I don't know. Hey, I'm not part of their marketing team, right? There's all the conspiracy that Coke actually had Coke in it, right? So there are these things that exist, and even sugar. Sugar is very dangerous. More people die from sugar than they do from freaking, I don't know what the real quote is. Hey, Chris, help me out here. So I do think that we also need to have that type of conversation, that before we can get to this discussion, to ask ourselves, is addiction a choice? Because there are some people where it might be easy for us to be like, now that you're an adult, just go to the gym and watch your weights and whatever. But if you're addicted to something, as Miss Yap Queen was getting to, when you do become an adult, getting to that point might take you 10 years, might take you till you become 30. And going through that period, you will still be obese. So there are people who are actively obese from mistakes of neglections from when they were kids to adulthood, that they are trying to do the right steps, but they have to go through social stigma, people looking at them weirdly, people laughing at them, just to try and get to the point to improve themselves. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you very much for that clarification as well, Astro. Over to you, Ice baby. Hey, big boots to fill, mate. Hey, I cooked right there. That was ace. So hey, no pressure. Wait. No pressure. Where's Candy House? Candy's next. Candy hasn't said a thing. Candy, if you don't have a good debate talking point, you're getting banned. I've been waiting for this day since the beginning of the server. Sorry, Ice, go ahead.
So I think instead of saying it is a choice or not I'm gonna say it's not a choice. I'm gonna say it's more of like a series of choices, because it's not any kind of one decision you're making that's leading to obesity. It's more of It's more of like a series of choices of like overall that kind of snowballs into obesity that kind of affects your life. So like one day you might decide to eat say McDonald's instead of cooking your own meal, and the next day kind of justify it. And the day after that you say, oh, like sorry, I'm reading chat right now. And the next day, like after that, you say, "Oh, I've been feeling fine the past few days. I'm just gonna have some more McDonald's," and it kind of keeps snowballing. And also, I would like to say that I think personally, if depending on like how you were educated as a child and like your upbringing, if you're truly ignorant and don't see a problem with like being obese, I would say it's not a choice because you kind of don't know like what's going on and you're not like self-aware enough to actually educate yourself and make a change.
Yeah, I think this goes back to the addiction thing of like, I know someone can be an alcoholic or they could be addicted to opiates or whatever, and they can be fully aware that they're an addict. Are they constantly choosing then to drink alcohol, or is their brain telling them you need alcohol? Get alcohol. Or when you crave foods, you know that you're craving, I don't know, a packet of Oreos or whatever. But there is a specific component of that Oreo that your brain is craving, and it knows that it can get that source of whatever it's seeking from that food. And I would make the argument that once you're an addict, you're always an addict. You're never going to stop being an addict, even if you've been sober 30, 40, 50 plus years, because they know as soon as they touch alcohol again, it's going to go into a dangerous cycle. So they have to work really hard not to touch alcohol or not to touch opiates or to eat less of those foods and have some level of control over that. But I think when it comes to an addiction, I think your brain subconsciously is making those choices for you, where consciously you're not making that choice as much. So I think in that sense, it's kind of hard. I think yes, it is a series of choices, but I think it's also a series of choices that haven't necessarily been made for you. And then you're trapped in that cycle where, yes, you're making, okay, I'm going to go get a cheeseburger. Great. But why? What is your brain seeking from that cheeseburger? And I think Jaime then touched on like when people feel low, they seek comfort foods. Well, what happens when you eat those comfort foods? You feel good. Why do you feel good? Because your body's getting a dopamine rush from it. And your brain wants more of that dopamine. So it seeks more of those foods that gives you that rush of dopamine. Because that rush of dopamine to the brain is addictive. It's the same reason people use opiates. Because I know this is probably say, because they're chasing that high that they got from using that opiates. But unfortunately, they're not going to seek that same high, but they'll use more and more and more of those opiates to seek that same high because their brain is addicted to it. So I think in that sense, yes, it's a choice, but it may not be a choice that you are actually in control in. I think it's a grey area, and I think a lot of people look at these things as if it's black and white, as if it's easy. And I think a lot of people who make these discussions don't understand addiction, haven't experienced addiction, haven't experienced obesity. So I think it's easy for those people to say all those things from that standpoint of something they haven't themselves experienced.
Yeah, mate, that's a really good point. The addiction point, literally, when it clicked for me. So I'm not revealing my stance, and also with the addiction, I play League of Legends, mate. I know how it feels. Been hard stuck for for years, mate. Been trying to drop that game. All jokes aside, was there something I was missing? There was one more person who was meant to speak. Who was it?
Candy.
Oh,
I think it's the guy called like admin.
Hey Candy, hey Candy ass, our beloved member of the community. Please give your debate talking points, and if you do give anything that's poorly debated, you might end up banned. Go ahead.
Hey. This is no fair because you guys covered like everything. But I mean, I could tell like my story of how I got obese and then I lost the weight. Um, I would say it's not always a decision because or a choice. Because when I was growing up, everybody in my family was fat except for one person. And I was kind of like raised into it. So whatever my mom would cook or whatever they would decide to eat is what I had to eat. And then she also had this policy where I had to like clean my plate. So I always had to enough because she just wanted me to eat because she wanted me to grow. But it just became to the point, obviously, where it was too much. But my dad wouldn't say anything and nobody would say anything. And I was just fatter and fatter and fatter. And then one day, finally, when I was 21, like 21 years later, my dad puts his foot down and is like, I'm tired of us being fat.
What's an emoji?
Yeah, I'm going to start going to the gym and I'm going to lose this weight. I don't care what you say or what you do. And he was doing it. And then for me, I was still fat and he was out there losing weight. And I'm like, oh, hell no. So I got jealous and then I told him, I was like, can I start going to the gym too? And he started letting me go with him. And then at that point, when I was 21 years later, being 300 plus pounds, the weight just started like melting off because of I swear it was because of the gym, because the good health choice, the good eating choices, they lasted for, I'll say forever. Cause I have been subconsciously thinking, I'm like, okay, how much fat does this have? Like, is this going to be bad? No, not so much fat, but like, is this going to be bad for me or is this going to be good for me? But I still kept eating kind of bad. Anyways, the weight started coming off. So it took my dad to influence me to finally lose the weight. And the one family member that I mentioned that never got obese, because everybody, all four of my sisters, my mother, my father, my uh, my cousins on the Mexican side have all been obese at one time in their life. But the only one that avoided it was my nephew. And that was because growing up, he's always been better at like talking with people and making friends. So he always surrounded himself with people that weren't obese. And I would say they weren't always like into fitness. Some of them were, I think. But that influenced him. And I know I remember he used to make his own decisions on what he was going to eat from whatever food was provided for him. He wasn't always eating everything. He was only eating certain things. And he was always like that. So he always avoided obesity. And I want to say it was because he was influenced by his friends, but I don't know that for sure. But yeah, that's my story. So I don't think it's always a choice. I think, like y'all have said, as you grow up, as you get older, you start to have to make your own decisions for your own life. And at that point, then yeah, it does become a choice. And you are going to be influenced by what you had to go through growing up, but you have your own ability to make your own decisions and to stop eating garbage and to go to the gym. So at that point, when you're paying your own bills and stuff, or when you're older and you can think for yourself, it's a choice. That's my take.
Perfect.
Am I done?
Hey mate, I just needed to add a suspense so we just need to check the votes for a second. There was a poll ongoing on whether you should be banned or not. I just want to check. What did people say? Scroll. Yes, but with an emoji. That's nice. All jokes aside, those are some real good talking points, Candy. I like the fact that you mentioned a positive influence. That's another talking point that most people miss whenever they go through this whole idea of fitness. a good example and a good analogy I can give is, people who can't swim or people who can't ride a bike. It's not that it's hard to do, is that when they were kids, they didn't have that influence or someone who would take that leadership to teach them, to show them how. And they've also probably never considered doing it because on their Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's not been important because they've grown up, they're adults now, they need to pay the bills, they need to go to work. They don't care about riding a bike or swimming or whatever. So it doesn't become mandatory. That's the same thing with health and lifestyle, because for a lot of people, it's not second nature to them. So they haven't had that positive influence. They haven't had that dad who's like, hey, we need to go to the gym, or that mom who's been like, oh, that's unhealthy. I'm going to curate your food for you. So I really do appreciate that point that you've made. Dante, I do see that you are unmuted. There was a guy called Admin that did want to talk. But Dante, you can talk and then Admin will switch over to you. The floor is yours, Dante. I might have to switch to Dante's side, right? Because all of you guys are like, it's not a choice, it's not a choice, it's not a choice. So someone's got to help Dante, and I might cook you guys if I switch to Dante because I did give you guys addiction talking points. So, GG's, good luck.
First off, I had no idea I was unmuted, so I'm sorry for whatever you guys overheard. Secondly, I'm going to be on my way to work here in a minute, so that unmute was just an accident. I'm here to listen to you and to validate everyone else who is left to speak. My words are done for today.
Sorry, mate. Hey, good thing I called that out. There's so much that you've been saying in the background, right? Admin, do you have anything you want to say? Please don't be a troll. Please don't be a troll.
Hello.
Yo, dude,
so basically, I'm good. How are you? Basically, when people talk about obesity, they talk about how it's not a choice, and when it's like when they're younger, your parents curate your food for you. But I feel like it's not always the parents' fault. When I was a kid, like 11, 12, I had a BMI of 20. Oh, was I not? Wait 1 second. Let me turn off my push to talk. I'm sorry. That's better. All right. I'm sorry. Basically, I feel like the problem is that people, as younger, they surround themselves with people who eat food, who eat unhealthy. And my parents, at such a young age, they always encouraged me to eat healthy. They always fed me healthy food. They were fit, but they weren't like shredded. They didn't go to the gym, but they ate healthy. They were in good shape. But I feel like when you get to a certain age of 11, 12, you can start cooking your own breakfast, your own dinner, and you can actually make your own, choices. And I feel like the problem is people think it's always their parents' fault, but you have to take some accountability. It's not just their fault. And I feel like it's more about the people you surround yourself with. And like internet can be such a bad thing, but it can also help people get into shape. For me, it was the internet that encouraged me to start going to the gym and start eating healthy and start, maintaining my caloric deficit. And I feel like that's the thing that people should be more aware of. They always think of the internet as such a bad thing. And that's probably like that's the whole thing I have to say.
Thank you very much, mate. Those were actually some really good talking points, and thank God that you weren't a troll. But just a quick side question: are you new to the server?
I am actually new to the server.
Oh, nice. Where did you hear us? Where did you hear about us from?
I heard someone get banned in Reddit from the server, and I just decided to check it out.
Yeah. I saw that post. Did you see my message response to it? It was like, why did you get banned? Bro, it's like, I was sure. I checked his chat logs as well. I was like, I'm not unbanning this guy. Cool. Thank you very much, mate. On another note, guys, this conversation is also ongoing in the Reddit. It's been civil-ish, so just be careful because it is Reddit. So if you do want to get involved, feel free to get involved. As you can see, there's like 800 people have gone chaotic with it. So feel free to debate. 6-7. No, I didn't. Cool. So the next person is, and thank you very much for those points, admin. Is there anyone who's currently on the panel that wants to chip in before I move to the audience? Musaki, is there anything you want to say? I don't want to forget.
Finally, man.
Finally? Let Chris.
Mate.
Chris.
Mate,
No. Haven't I said, has anybody want to speak like 10 times already? Dude,
Many
this guy
times,
is
many a time.
this is
yeah, but someone
a
always
real
spoke up
rage
to me,
bait.
man. I wanna.
Candy,
Wait,
I
I
apologize.
expect you.
I have been targeting the wrong person all along. Candy, you are literally God's gift to Earth. Masaki, you are Lucifer's gift to Earth. I should have terminated you the first day I saw that. I'm just kidding. Feel free, Chris is getting stressed out. Feel free to say what you need to say, go ahead.
Mate, in my defense, I thought I had to hear my name first before that, so I also was watching a movie, but that's secondary, you know. First of all, you know, как фо? Эй, ся? Okay. Okay. Yeah, fuck it, man.
Did he leave? I'm so sorry, Musaki. I'm so toxic. Please rejoin. Imagine if he left the server. Not another one. Please don't become another snarker.
I think I
Go on,
have to skip my
Musaki.
turn. I have to skip my turn because my mother wants to sleep and I want to talk, you know? This is kind of a fight between interests, so maybe I'll stay on the stage and make my point on the chat.
No worries, you can type it. All of that before was a joke. Get some nice rest. See you, mate. Sorry about that. But that was funny while it lasted. Cool. Who's next? Does anybody else want to talk? Haikuzo. Did I pronounce your name properly? And thank you to everyone who's joined. Really do appreciate all of you. You know, this has been an amazing turnout. We did have up to 50 plus. Ooh, sorry, mate. How do I pronounce your name? Is it Haikuzo?
Yeah, you pronounced it right. What's up, everyone?
Nothing much, man.
All right. Happy New Year. All right. I'd say yeah. I had two friends around. I had two friends last year nearly die from heart attacks because of their weight. One was 350 pounds. The other was around 400 to 425. They used to be athletic. They had They have diabetes and all that, but it's just like they weren't doing anything to prevent it. They just kept eating shit. They kept eating shit. Obviously, there are issues with all that. I've heard rumors or whatever that diabetes makes it harder to lose weight or whatever. I don't know. I didn't do my research on that. But yeah, no, I'd say it's a choice. If it comes to the point where you can't stand up on your own and you're not like 67 years old, Heist, why are you laughing, bro? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing, man? You just need to start going to the gym realistically. You don't even need to go to the gym. You can just start walking outside to lose weight. But yeah,
Yo,
friends are doing-
chill. No insults on ice. Ice babies, chill. No pun intended. I think
You
Ice
turned
was
into a
laughing at chat.
blueberry or-
No, he's laughing at chat.
Why
He's
is it-
laughing at
oh,
chat.
whoa.
I was laughing at 67 years old. It starts to look like 6'7". That was what I was
Yeah.
laughing at.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, chill.
Yeah. I forgot I had my hand raised. I'm sorry. I'm trying to leave work, bro. This caught me off guard. But yeah, no. I do say it's a choice. I feel like everybody should at least work out once in their life. Obviously more than that. But yeah. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
Yo, mate, it's all right. Sometimes I do like to yap a lot,
Yeah,
but I
there's
do
a lot
agree
of
with what
pressure
you're
on me.
saying.
There's too many mods here. I'm freaking out, man.
No one's gonna ban you unless I demand it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, thanks for your input, mate. Yeah, I do agree with your points where, you mentioned about, people having like diabetes or health related issues. At that point, you need to be making a conscious decision, because I'm certain doctors would have probably approached them and told them that this is a health risk. So from that point on, you don't have the benefit of doubt of saying that, it's parental influence, or it's something that you're unaware of, because you have got the medical professionals who are egging you on to make the right decision. So thank you very much for that point. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. If you do have any
Yes,
other
sir.
points to say, feel free to. I'll move you to the audience. We've got to speed run through the rest of you guys, because we technically did have another talking point or another debate topic or whatever. But hey, we might do a part 2.
I think we have like
Yo,
4 more topics.
yeah, this guy is a buzzkill. Where's that guy that was roasted ice? What was his name again? No, this is getting back. No, just kidding. Winter, feel free to give your intake.
Hey. Oh my God, I'm nervous. When we think about obesity, we often think about the middle, but like no one takes into account where it starts. Most people don't randomly go into obesity. It is often, like, I'm gonna use the word someone else used, conditioned into you. Someone who is raised in a healthy household, meaning that they are loved, they are cared for. It is a place where feelings are talked about, no one's boundaries are getting disrespected, and healthy eating is normalized. And not healthy eating as in you're not allowed to eat chips, snacks. It is listening to what your body needs and what your body wants. And I'm going to say most people don't have that, because it's, especially in, let's say, Middle Eastern cultures, it is very normalized to scream and hit and abuse your children. And at the same time, there's a lot of narratives around children need to finish their plate. And so this biologically and psychologically messes with your hunger cues, and your body already has a way of maintaining itself. We have many systems in our body: the endocrine system, the digestive system, the nervous system. These are all taken into account to why someone is obese, not just how their lifestyle is. When someone is not taking their hunger cues seriously when they're young, and that is a parent's responsibility, not a child's, their circadian rhythm is messed up, their hunger cues as well. And so when you're kind of conditioned into it, it is very hard to get out of. It is not impossible, but the way how society works is that it is very, very difficult. And most people don't have the resources, the money, the time to go and lose the weight. And I'm saying this as a father, as a father who has, sorry if English is not my first language, a father who's obese. He was not able to come out of that for a long time because he has a family to feed. His job is sitting down. This isn't their choice. This is how society and how they grew up into it. So when we're saying that it is a choice because you're taking the steps, it's really not, because your body is literally working against you in every way. Your hunger cues are managed through your digestive systems and through your endocrine system, which is related to maintaining homeostasis. The same way your thymus gland is responsible for helping your immune system. It is all related to that. And so when your body is has messed up hormones and messed up hunger cues, it is very easy to get obese, because you may overeat without realizing it, and you may still be hungry. Now, especially like if you're a teenager, because we all know teenagers do have to eat more because they're literally growing. This differs for men and women, because women go through puberty earlier, men go through puberty a little later. They have to get taller, and it is especially normal to see teenagers getting a little chubby or overweight just so they can, and then getting taller. But when you're conditioned into this lifestyle and how your body normally operates, your body will accommodate. So especially, again, finish your plate. You need to finish all your food. And some families will even go and shame their children for trying to get into a healthier lifestyle. It is especially difficult. And when you get older, you're going to have to start earning money and get a job. And unless you're like a top surgeon or you're a doctor, most people don't have the funds to go out and get healthy food. They don't have the funds to go ahead and get that red meat instead of those ramen noodles. And it is like societal, like as a society, it is important to stress the fact that the way our world operates is not sustainable for healthy weight loss. Most people, that's the least of their concerns, how much they weigh. They have friends, they have family, they have a job, they have hobbies. And for most people, gym is a hobby. But if someone's not into that, you can see how it's really difficult to get into that. And it is not a idea of losing weight just to eat less. You have to take into account your vitamins, your macronutrients. Just survive off like a ramen noodle a day and then call yourself healthy because you're no longer obese. That is especially dangerous for how your body operates. Because again, if you're under eating, especially for overeating in a large amount of time, you're going to confuse your body. And as well, it's really common to yo-yo in weight. Like you could lose 30 pounds a year and then gain it back next year because you're not regulating it right. It is something that takes a lot of time and a lot of pressure. And most people in their day-to-day lives can't do that, like especially how you're seeing that even like inflation, like the cost of living a normal healthy and life is increasing, especially because most jobs are desk jobs or jobs where you're literally just sitting all day or standing all day. And especially if you're getting paid minimum wage, it is not possible at all to be able to get in to lose that weight. However, and it's not, and I know that it's situational. Some people may have not grew up in situations or households where it was normalized to eat a lot. But at the same time, that's completely situational. And the majority of obese people, it was not a choice for them. Yeah, I really hope that made sense because I stumbled a lot. Again, English is not my first.
Quick question: are you a chef?
A what?
Are you a chef? Because you just
I cook
cooked
for my
this
family.
debate. Now that was some really solid talking points, Winter. You absolutely smashed it. I like the way you're talking about, you know, the biggest point that most people experience is work. People who work in stationary jobs, it is so easy for your total daily energy expenditure to be drastically lower than even people who commute. A lot of people since COVID have started working from home. There was that huge, I don't want to use pandemic, but there was that huge experience that everyone. Sorry,
well.
Dad. Hmm?
No, continue. Students as well face this problem because they're sitting there. University students, high school students, it's the same. Like you'd notice that it is not normal for you to stand up and walk around during class. Like you have to stay seated. And this kind of plays into account how even though we are supposed to walk around and move a lot during our day-to-day lives, you'd see most people prefer to go to school and they sit all day. And then when they come home, they sit at their desk, or if you don't sit at your desk, they literally bed rot and scroll all day. And because it is so normalized, you'd kind of, and it's shamed because I get asked a lot, like especially like if you go on walks a lot, if you do activities, you're going to be asked, why are you so hyperactive? I'm someone who regularly walks around. I'm never going to willingly sit down for a long period of time. Even when I'm studying, I'm going to make that choice and walk around while I'm reciting stuff to myself. But most people don't do that, especially if they don't have the energy to.
Yeah, that was. Wait, did she disappear? Yo, that is like some. Wait, and Chris disappeared as well. That is some freaking mystical type, you know, aura farming. Just gonna drop some bomb, cook the entire podcast, then disappear. But yeah, she did talk about some really good points. You know, people who do study and work in a stationary position, Your total daily energy expenditure is going to be drastically lower than most people who are active in general, even people who commute or people who walk, etc. Admin, you did say you did have some follow-up counterpoints to what she was saying. Feel free to say it. And anyone who does have to leave, thank you very much, guys. Just to sorry interrupt you, admin. Because it's been 1 hour plus. We are postponing the other talking points to next week. So yeah, everyone who's been here from the very start, thank you very much. Way better turnout than I expected. I mean, I did spam all of you guys to make sure you joined, right? But yeah, thank you very much, guys. It's been 1 hour, 20 minutes. I'll probably maybe break it down to different points each week, because imagine if we had to do all 4, was it 5 points? Man, I can't even count. We would have been here for 5 hours, 6 hours. I know Chris is dying to do it, but hey, I got a life, guys. But yeah, is Winter back, or did she disappear to the ethers? If not, admin, feel free to give your counterpoint.
All right, thank you. So I agree with her points. I agree with, like, the environment and the culture. But a big part about her statement is like her culture and where she comes from. But the problem with it, right? I understand how parents like force you to finish your play and understand that. But like in her culture, and because we're like I'm both Middle Eastern as well. Parents like majority just cook lunch and breakfast and dinner is on you. So I feel like you have control over 2/3 of your meals, and I feel like also commuting to school, walking. I walk like 2 or 3 kilometers just to school, even in the winter, and I feel like that's a good way to offset some of the calories. But yeah, even though you have to finish your plate, there's so many ways. Like there's 2 meals that you have control over, and I feel like that's a part that you forgot to mention. And those two is like the most important, because I heard breakfast is the most important. But you can make eggs for breakfast. You can make oats, low calorie cereal. There's so many options you can do, and it's not just bound to lunch. So I feel like it's not all the parents' fault. You still have control over 2/3 of your meals, and that's all.
Yeah, that's also another good point. That, there are probably cultural differences, and that can also differentiate between different families. Maybe there's some families where you do have some leadership to control what you have, but there are probably other families that are more stricter. So I mean, it's a good argument that can be had. So are there anybody else who do want to? Well, Killer Cat, you have had your hand raised for a while. But there was an order of list of people that I had to go down. Koala known, you will be a Koala Crown. Sorry, mate. I'm not doing it on purpose. I literally just can't read. I'll invite you as well. Geo, you changed your name to Wind. Do you want to partake in this? Nice way to put that big brain to use. Minisman, mate, I don't know what I'm gonna get from you. You're like freaking the Joker or something. Like, it's either a
Are
rage
we are
bait
we
or
actually gonna let are we actually gonna let Geo speak on obesity? I don't think this would be a very smart choice of giving him a platform.
This is the topic about, is obesity a choice? Yeah, yes. Like the others are going to be for the next podcast.
yeah, mate. Sorry, I
Right.
have to postpone the other topics to next week.
No issue.
I'm just inviting everyone. Raise your hand if you want to join. This will be the
Actually,
final.
have many things to say if I'm allowed.
Go ahead, mate. Just don't put us to sleep.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
So I can't 100% say whether obesity is or isn't a choice, because there's a lot of arguments to be made for both. I remember Astro mentioning that there are a lot of small choices, multiple, that people can make day to day, which I think there's accountability to be had there. I think taking accountability is a good way to move forward and not let your condition define you, so you can move over it. There's also an argument to be made about how it might not always be a choice because of the way you were raised and the environment you've been around all your life. Like some people don't even realize they've been conditioned and have this problem because of this, and they figure it out pretty late. So I believe we can't 100 definitively say whether it's not or isn't a choice, but I think we can agree that there are real steps to be taken to get better and improve from this point forward. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you very much for your points, mate. I'm just kidding. Those were some good points. Can I know some points about this? Yeah, sure. Jeannie, if I'm pronouncing that properly, you can also speak. Cool. Koala Crown. Who else did I invite up? Feel free to speak. Go ahead.
What's up, y'all? So I have like some health issues, and my growing up, like my family, we weren't we like we knew about the issues behind food, but we weren't able to like the additives that they put in everything. We weren't able to say no. We couldn't say no. We had to have the additives. We had to go out to eat. We had to have these things, and that was because of the circumstances. That was because of the stress. That was because of all the bullshit that we created for our lives. In all honesty, like I'm sorry for cursing, but we did it to ourselves, in my eyes. And I think that that's just the reality of it all. Like we have the choice to change our lives. It takes one person to change a household. So even if it is the child who's changing the parents, that's what I had to do as a child. That's what I did, because I wasn't going to sit back and let my family suffer anymore. Like it takes one person. So yes, in some ways it's a choice, but I also understand that some parents aren't as kind as mine. They may have been physically abusive. So I try to see the other side too, because I don't want to just dog on people who didn't have the opportunity I did. But at the end of the day, if you're an adult, you are the only person in control of yourself. Nobody else can control you. Um, anyone else can give you advice, anyone else can tell you how to do it, but no one can do it for you. You have to get out, get up, and do it yourself. Like it is a choice. Like that's all I can see. There's no other way for me to see it any differently. So I mean, that's what I've got to say. Thank you.
You absolutely smashed it, mate. I do really agree. Also, one of those points that you did touch on was about being the person who does set the difference in your family. You know, if you are being negatively influenced, if you have found the right path and the truth or whatever it is important always to share it internally with your family as well. And I do appreciate that and respect that as well. And I can relate with that as well. Did anybody else have anything else that did it? Oh, Jinyu. Sorry, am I pronouncing your name properly? Feel free to give your points.
You are pronouncing my name right, but I wanted to say that I'm from like southern United States, so when we eat food, it's like horrible. Like I think we use 3 tablespoons of butter for each meal we cook, maybe more. But when I was like 12, I went through heavy bullying where like I was pretty big for my age. It's like 135 pounds at like 10 years old, and I'm 5 foot. And when I was done with the bullying, and I'm from a family who you can't be healthy around. They still bully me, but like I was just done. I looked up some YouTube videos, and I didn't have any equipment at the time, and I just like did squats with my book bag for a while, and I lost like 13 pounds. But like if it gets to a point where it's affecting your health, then oh my god, there's a giant car. Okay. But if it's to the point where it's affecting your health, then you should know that there's something to do about it. And especially if you're an adult, like being a kid is kind of tricky because like other people were saying. But then when you're an adult, you have the decisions, you have people you can reach out to, and there's like actual places to go, including therapy. And if you're not willing to change, even doing the simplest things, then that's just your choice. And yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I like that you touched on that. You started to make a difference with the little that you had. I also did something similar. That's why I initially got into calisthenics. Um, just starting off with the park, whatever you got, your own physical body, get into fitness and making the difference and being the change that you want to see. Sorry to hear about the bullying. We'll probably make this another debate. I'm not, and I could be, and I might not be on the stance. I do believe that sometimes bullying is a good catalyst to help people who are strong-willed to go towards the right direction. Chris is probably going to be against it. This is not the debate topic, but go ahead, say what you want to say.
Just checking with having a pro or anti-bullying debate, in which case,
Okay,
yeah,
bullying
I'll
is
see you
bad.
there.
Bullying is bad. All types of bullying is bad. But I'm just kidding. Cool. Your brother is about to be like, wait, what? No. So guys, does anybody else have
Healthy
anything
peer
else?
pressure.
Healthy, yeah, that's the correct. Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys. Healthy peer pressure. Does anybody else have anything else they do want to say? All jokes aside, I really do appreciate you all. Wait, Minisman?
I think Mimi's man here.
Yeah, got to be careful with this guy.
Mimis man.
He's a
He's a good guy.
professional rage bait. No, mate, he's the one that said powerlifting is.
He's a good guy.
He said deadlifting isn't part of powerlifting. Hey, Minisman, how
Hello?
you doing? Don't rage bait me,
Good.
please. Don't rage bait me.
We had a lot of good points, I heard. Yeah. I want to give a big shout out to the owner of this Discord. He's super cool, guys.
Is he?
You know, he's on top of the ball, all right? But yeah, I just wanted to touch in and give my opinion about the obesity. I'm from Southern America too. Like, everyone in my family's obese. And really, it depends how you look at obesity, right? What is obesity? It's excess fat on your body. Well, how do you get excess fat on your body? You eat a bunch of junk food. And, I mean, take out your emotions, right? And you're just eating all this sugar and all this junk food. I mean, really, you eat it because it tastes good and it feels good, right? Momentarily. And then you do that for a whole year, and you're like, why am I so fat? Why is everyone making fun of me? And it's what you put in your body, and you can change at any point in time you want, really. Like, it is a little expensive to eat healthy. I will say that. I eat a lot of chicken and beef, and meat is not cheap. But at the end of the day, like if it takes bullying or if it takes a very big change, I mean, you'll see you'll see a big difference if you make a change in your life, fitness wise, you know. But yeah, I used to be a little obese in my family. I mean, we fried everything, right? Like fried chicken, fried fish, and
You got some connections issues,
you know, I
man.
got tired of.
So what did you do? Sorry, man. I think it might be my end, but I can't
And I
hear
watch
what you're
YouTube, and
speaking.
literally, I learned what carbs and fats. What was it? I did my own research. And
Sorry, man. I think we're some mic issue.
We can't hear you, mate. You keep cutting off. You can type if you prefer. But yeah. Thank you very much, Mimi's man. I do hope you are not intentionally rage baiting us. You are having audio issues. I would type so it feels like I haven't just randomly kicked you. Having audio issues. You can't hear. Right? Feel free to type. Oh, don't know what that word was supposed to be, but I meant to type. Right, cool. Does anybody else have anything else to say? This is an opportunity for you guys to give your stance. We didn't,
Opportunity to mention our sponsors as well.
Sorry, what did you say?
So it's a good opportunity to mention people who helped make this happen, the sponsors for this podcast as well.
Oh, shit. Yo, I just want you guys to know that Boostcamp is having an amazing New Year's New Me sale. For those of you who are using Boostcamp, of course, you can get Boostcamp completely for free. If you do want to get a discount on Boostcamp, maybe seeing some premium routines or whatever, make sure to use code FITNESS. Thank you very much, Boostcamp, for being a partner of the community and sponsoring this podcast. Absolutely amazing. Huge shout out to Boostcamp. And also, guys, huge shout out to Sculpt AI. Now, I know there is a lot of talks about AI ruining and AI slop, and personal trainers don't really like talking about AI because, let's be honest, it does their jobs for them. Sculpt.ai is completely different. They do like to get the intake of personal trainers. They are using personal trainers to train their agents, and it is not just curated by AI. So it's curated to make sure it's following the routines that the users want. Cool. And remember, guys, it isn't strike first. It isn't strike force. It is strength first. Guys, I used to be a skinny binny when I first joined the Discord server. Some of you might joke and say, oh, he still is. You're right. That's because I'm not part of that's because I'm not part of Strength First, STR First, Chris. So guys, if you don't want to be a skinny binny like me, oh my God, Ayo. Who's this guy, Tommy? Tommy, where are you? Is Tommy still is he in the audience or something? Where is he?
Looking somewhere.
Oh, he's at the bottom. No, Tommy, you have to come up here, mate. We gotta have some conversation. We're gonna have a fitness catch up. Sorry, guys, debate is over. This is a personal beef. Bro said no. Anyway, all jokes aside, thank you very much, everyone else. Does anybody have any final words? Does anybody want to ask any fitness related questions quickly? We can take a quick fitness question here and there. Anyone who feels that the debate is ending early, really do appreciate it. Hey, if 2 hours is early for you, mate, you gotta get a life. That's a joke. There is
next week.
We are continuing the debate next week, and there is also an ongoing conversation on the subreddit. I know the owner of that subreddit, me. So, if people do tend to get toxic and insult you on that debate, feel free to check it out. Look out to next week. We are going to be going through the other topics. So, I need to do the VIP members spin the wheel. So a huge shout out to all the VIP members. Let me just quickly screen share. It's so funny. Only 3 people joined this VIP member giveaway. Staff members, I told you guys you can also join it as well, but you guys didn't want to join. It's okay. Who's the last person? Rocco.
Good luck.
Cool.
1 in 3 chance.
Yeah. By God's grace, next year we'll be doing freaking merch giveaways and stuff like that. Or
let's go.
Lamborghini giveaways. A man can dream. Are you guys ready?
Maybe.
Chris, your sarcasm pisses me off so much. I'm not like the rest of them. I know it's sarcasm. Anyway, cool. Good luck to the winner, and thank you all for supporting the community. And happy 2026. COVID was 6 years ago. Let that sink in.
When we get questions next week, or tag me in chat.
The winner is. Ooh.
Oh, Joel. Let's go. Congrats to Joel. Let's go, man.
And the winner is. Yes! Miss Yap Queen. Let's go. And the winner is. It should go on Rocco. Okay, we'll just skip that
Really?
part. So it went on Rocco. So all three of you win Nitro. I'm feeling generous. Thank you very much, guys, for supporting the community. I'll send the Nitro to you guys. If I forget, please do let me know. Appreciate you all. Cool. Does anybody else have anything else to say? Anything ongoing? Anyone seen any?
I have to next week.
Well, anyone's got anything to say? Ice, you got something to say? What? Ice will.
Look forward to next week.
No, just kidding.
I'll just ping Chris in chat. Oh, okay.
No, you can quickly ask it. You can quickly ask it, Chris. Don't be not.
I was wondering what you normally prescribe as a training max to use in programs if there's like not one that's being given. Do you give like a certain percentage, or do you do it based off of like bar speed, or how would you do that?
It depends on the program. So if it's for general hypertrophy, I try not to prescribe a certain weight for it. It would just be for figure it out for yourself and go from there, really. If it's for like a powerlifting program, I would say start conservative. It's always easy to add weight later than it is to take the weight off the bar. So maybe start at 90%, like Jim Wendler kind of thing. I wouldn't say take the extra 10% off from that. I would say start 90%, see how it goes. And then if bar speed's still really good, if you don't get any slowing down reps at all, add small increment up from there. But when you're starting, you don't want to be grinding any weights. It should always start a bit easier than you think it should. So 90% is probably a decent starting point. It gets the ego out of it, ideally.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Good to speak to you, man. I'm glad to actually have a chat with you. It's been a long time since you've actually been on video. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ice. Sorry that it's 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. for you at the moment. But overall, thank you very much for everyone who joined. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Ice. Thank you,
I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Candy Ice. Thank you, Mizaki. Thank you, Masu. Did this guy even talk? He always changes his name. I can't keep up. Thank you, Gio. Thank you, Miss Yap Queen. Thank you, Boya. Thank you. Where's that ban button? Thank you, Rocco. Thank you, Astro. Thank you, Dante, and everyone who's joined. And thank you to all of you in the audience. Thank you, Fixer Fitness. And I hope you all have an amazing 2026. Remember, we do have a part 2 next week. Bye. Discord podcast.
You guys.
We are friends.
Left out here.
We're not losers.
Yes.
I go to a Discord podcast on my weekend to debate obesity.